What's up, guys? Peace to the world, peace to everybody, peace to the. You know, what got me funny? You know what I'm laughing about? Everybody talking about property taxes in the United States of America. Talking about that, why they have to pay property taxes in the United States of America, and and stuff like that. People don't want to pay property taxes. And the way I see it is, you have to pay property taxes because someone has to control the property of the United States of America. You see, because you don't control the property of the United States of America. What happens is everybody is just going to take over the United States of America. That's the reason why you have to pay property taxes. You have to pay taxes for the property that you own because it belongs to the United States of America. Basically, the property that you bought, whatever you bought, that property is part of the United States of America. That's if you live in the United States of America. If you live in the United States of America, any property you buy and you built a house or a building or whatever you built, you have to pay that property that you live there for. You have to pay property taxes because you don't really own the property. Basically, you're renting the property from the United States of America for you could build your house, your building, or your tower, or whatever you're gonna build in that property. That's the reason why you gotta pay on property taxes, cause you don't pay property taxes, and nobody have to pay property taxes. What happens is when anybody get a property, that means they own that piece of land. They really own it, and they don't belong to the United States of America. So that means everybody from around the world can own a piece of the United States of America because United States of America don't have control of the property of the United States of America. And that's the reason why you have to pay property taxes. You have to pay. It's like a loan. It's basically you are renting the property you at by paying taxes. And if you don't pay taxes, you know what I'm saying, you get a couple of warnings and then they'll take your property from you. That means whatever you have, you don't own it no more. You don't own that property. That means you could take your house with you or your building with you or take your tower with you, or now you leave it, it's just going to stay there and they'll do whatever they want to do with it. They'll knock it down or build something, whatever they want to build, United States of America. That's the reason why you have to pay property taxes. And y'all fighting that y'all don't want to pay taxes. It's the same way back in the Western days. Back in the 1800s, I think 1700s, when it was cowboys and Indians and everything. Back in the days, the bank, y'all was taking loans from the bank, and the bank was lending y'all money. And back in the days, I used to fight with the bank because y'all couldn't catch up with y'all loans, and they used to take your property. And that's why the bank used to have a lot of problems in the 1700s going to the 1800s. Because y'all couldn't, some of y'all couldn't not pay. And back in the days, you could have do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? They were robbing banks and everything. They started taking it out on the bank. So now, that's what you're trying to do now. Now you trying to blame everything on the government, saying that on why y'all should not pay property taxes. You had to pay property taxes because you in United States of America soil. So basically, the property that you buy is you renting it. That's why you paying taxes for that property. It's not basically yours. Now, you was living somewhere else, and you don't have to pay taxes, and you can buy that land and keep it, and it's different. But the United States is not going to give you a piece of dirt. They're not going to give you some dirt to live on. Because that's what it is. They're just giving you a piece of dirt, piece of land for you to live in and build whatever you want to build, do whatever you want to do. You want to make a farm, do whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? And you're fine. You know what I'm saying? You can live there. You don't have to pay taxes. Then that's yours. You can take over and everything. They can't tell you nothing because you're not paying taxes and everything. But if you buy, I know you buying the property from the United States of America, but that property is really a loan. You know what I'm saying? They're just letting you stay there as long as you pay your property taxes. You own that piece of land. And that's why you have to pay taxes, because you're just borrowing it. Basically, you're renting it. Like a rent-to-own, like when you rent a car and you don't pay the money, they take your car away. That's the same way. That's the same way it goes in the United States of America. So now y'all want to argue about property, knowing that you had to pay taxes regardless, for you could stay there and you could live there with your family or whatever you want to do with it. But if you don't pay your property taxes, you do get warnings. I think you get a couple of warnings, and if you don't pay, then they take your land away. And you got a choice. You can take your house with you out of that land. You can move your house. You know what I'm saying? Or you can leave your house there, do whatever you want. And for anything, some of y'all people complaining about some of these properties that y'all own. And them properties, you built in houses and everything. And them houses that y'all built in is just staying there, getting rotten. And nobody living in there and nothing. And you just got it there sitting there doing nothing. Knowing that, the United States of America could take them houses and fix them up and rent them out to low-income people that need places to live. Like rent it out to people that they have family that need a place to live and everything. You had a whole bunch of buildings in the United States of America that's abandoned and everything. Look what happened in New York City. They had a whole bunch of abandoned buildings. They took all them buildings, they fixed them up. And they started renting them out. Some of them, a whole bunch of them was for low-income people and everything. That's the same way they got to do all over the state. Take over these buildings that been there for 10 years, 15 years, sitting there getting rotten without nobody fixing it or nothing. And then the owner want to complain that that's my property, that's my... No. It should not be your property. Or you buy a house. Or a building or whatever. You got to maintain that. You have to fix that up. And try to have people living there. Or you live in there with your family. And if you can't live in there with your family, then you rent it out to somebody that could live in there, and at least you could get money from it. But you gotta fix it up. You can't just abandon a building, and then when somebody takes over it, you want to complain that it's yours. You know what I'm saying? That's not right. You can't just let buildings get rotten and condemned, and then when they want to fix it up and they want to take it from you, you want to complain that that's yours. Knowing that the condition you are having your building in your houses, and then you ain't got nobody living in there. So, y'all over here complaining about property taxes and all that. It's the truth. or you live in the United States of America, in the 50 state of the United States of America, and you bought a land or whatever it is, a piece of dirt or a piece of land or whatever, or property or whatever, it's rent. It's like you renting something. It's like you renting a car. You know when you rent a car that you drive around and you don't pay, they take your car away? That's the way it is in the United States of America. That's why you have to pay taxes. I mean, it might not, you might not feel right with it, but it's the truth. Because the United States don't charge taxes and just let everybody buy property and let people live here. You know what I'm saying? Then everybody all around the world could come here and buy property and live here, build whatever they want, and own piece of the United States of America, own United States of America, and tell United States of America, fuck out of here. This is my property. That's why you have to pay property taxes. You know what I'm saying? Or you build that, when you buy property, you could build whatever you want. You could do whatever you want with it. You could make it turn into a business, put houses on it, do whatever you want. As long as you pay the property taxes, you're okay. You will never have problem. But you have to pay the property taxes. I know they got school taxes, they got a lot of taxes, but the property taxes is very important because you have to pay that. I think it's every year you gotta pay, or I don't know how it is. But I don't own a house and I don't own no property. I have the money, I'll try to get me a property real quick, but I'm just saying, bro, I'm looking out for you. I'm telling you how it is, bro. I'm not trying to tell you nothing wrong. I'm not trying to tell you nothing wrong and nothing, bro. I'm just trying to help you out and let you see you open your eyes and understand this. That's the reason why you gotta pay property taxes. You know what I'm saying? Because when you don't pay property taxes, then everybody could just come over here and own United States of America, and nobody can do nothing about it. At least with the property taxes, you know what I'm saying? At least as long as you pay, they won't take your property away. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can tell you. And some of y'all landlords, so some of y'all people that own these buildings or these landlords or whatever they call y'all, owners of some of these houses, that y'all got them abandoned and everything. You know what I'm saying? You gotta fix your houses up, or you can't just let them sit there and rot for 20 years, 30 years. You know what I'm saying? Just let it sit there and rot, bro. That's all y'all do, bro. There's a whole bunch of buildings out here. Buildings, even houses, are condemned. Nobody living in there for so many years, and you know what I'm saying? You should just let the state take over it and everything. I don't know. Y'all crazy, man. I'm sorry to tell you that. Anyway, I'll see you later. I'll let you go with that one. I hope it sounds good to you, and it sounds good to me, bro. I'll see y'all later. Make sure you get something to eat and something to drink. If you don't have nothing, ask somebody. Somebody might give you some money, some food, something to drink. You know what I'm saying? Or a job. You know what I'm saying? It might be for a couple of days, but at least, you got money in your pocket to buy what you need. And everything, bro. I see you later, Crocodile. One love for you, Doc. Love you for life. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I can tell you, bro. You have to pay. I know you don't want to pay property taxes, but you have to pay. Or go somewhere else that you don't have to pay property taxes, but they have to charge you property taxes because you live in the United States. So you buy property, it's like renting it. You're renting it from the state and from the United States of America. You have to pay the taxes. You have to pay. Or else everybody can own land and just take over the United States of America. They can come from all over, bro. They won't be only American. They'll be all different kind of race owning property here. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You think about it the way you want to think about it, bro. But what I'm telling you is right, bro. I see you later, alligators. All right, peace to the earth in the world. Peace to everybody. And peace to earth. Real talk. One love.